Through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key. Make the big switch. Power to the people. Time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him. He's moving on with plans so.
Welcome, everyone, to the Crazy Kryptonaut channel. I am Zester, and thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. My apologies right off the bat for why I'm wearing a hat. It's because, well, I had to do some work outside this morning, and my hair is in one heck of a state. And so instead of fighting it, I decided to just hide it under the hat. Luckily, I have got a haircut scheduled for this week. Tame the forest. But I hope everyone had an amazing Christmas. And I hope everyone is looking forward to an awesome new year. I'm very excited about 2026 for a few different things. There's a lot that I'm worried about. There's a few things I'm very excited about. And so that's what this week is going to essentially be about on the channel. And so today, we're going to do a little bit of the normal crypto news. We're going to look at kind of what happened this December. Then on Wednesday, we're going to do a little bit of a recap of the entire year. What all occurred in crypto, because a lot happened in the cryptocurrency space. And then on Friday, which I have a feeling is probably going to be the one that most folks are the most excited about, we're going to do predictions for 2026. What things I think, Zester's prediction list, essentially for what I think is going to happen, and then also the things that I think need to happen. Not taking into consideration whether I believe they'll happen or not, but more a fact that they're on the docket, they need to occur. And so that's going to be our schedule for the week. Friday is going to be our prediction day. We're going to put a blindfold on and throw darts at a calendar and see when we think some of this stuff is going to happen throughout the year, because there's a lot that I think is pretty certain to occur in 2026. Other things may not happen until 2027 or later, or it all may happen very, very quickly. So just so everyone knows what the plan for the week is. Today, we're going to have a fairly short, we're just going to talk about December and of course, the news of today. But with it being the holidays, most companies, unless it's bad news, companies don't really put out a lot of information during this time of the year, unless it's kind of just a recap. The reason being, if it were good news, they don't want to fight the uphill battle of getting their awesome news out there and spread. It's not a great time to be advertising those things. So we don't have a ton that was announced, but we do have some interesting things. We've had an interesting December for crypto. But so with all of that said, let me go ahead and start saying hello to everyone, and then we will jump into it. Good morning, Mile High Trish. Good morning, Kukla. I hope you ladies had an awesome Christmas. Lots of good presents, or got to give lots of good gifts, because that is even more fun. Oh, and absolutely, Trish, much needed coffee this AM. I don't think my coffee worked this morning. I think I might need another cup. Hey there, Susie. Good morning. Howdy, Christina. Yes, before I go too far along, the content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes, not intended to provide financial advice. Please consult with a financial professional before making investment decisions. Thank you very much for making certain I get that one, Kukla. All right. Now, Pete, oh man, we're jumping right into it today. Checked my Coinbase Friday and my bank account zeroed out and all my cryptos gone. Coinbase taking no responsibility. Pete, that is awful. And that is very, very confusing. And so, Pete, we probably need to chat and see if I can't get a little bit more of a comprehensive story on that one. If you could send along an email with a phone number or something of that nature, and we'll see if we can't figure out. Because Pete, what had to have happened was somebody got access to your Coinbase. But Coinbase has a lot of extra two-factor authentications and things like that. And so for someone to have taken crypto out of a Coinbase account that had all the security features set up, it is very, 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 very difficult. They pretty much need to be there with you. And so, Pete, again, going to need to hear more about this one, but that sucks. That absolutely sucks. And so, yes, we need to jump on that one, Pete. I was really hoping that Coinbase would get back to you on that one because Coinbase has got to know what occurred. They've got to know what occurred. Susie, does anyone know if we're supposed to get pre-verified before the RV? I am not. To my knowledge, Susie, and absolutely everything that Pops has always told me is that there is nothing to do ahead of time. There are things you can do strategically to set yourself up, but in all honesty, you're really just doing work ahead of time. And so, Susie, please, though, do not take me as the final answer on that one. I definitely defer entirely to Pops and Mr. C on that one. But from my conversations, what I remember with Pops is that there was nothing to worry about on that side, but that a lot of people were told that they needed to worry about it. A lot of people were told that they needed to. And there are things you can do to get ready, but they're not necessary. And so, Susie, hopefully I gave you the same exact answer that Pops would have given on that one. What's up, proud Arab American? How are you doing, man? How was your Christmas? I hope you had an awesome one. Good morning, Crazy Chester. Good morning there, Savvy, listening in. Good morning, Chris Cake. Good morning, Zester and team and followers. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris Cake. Yep, here you go. Proud Air American. A scammer tried to get me by messaging me from a fake MoonPay support email. Problem is MoonPay and Lobster never talk on the phone, all through email. I picked up on it, but they tried to. And after I messaged Lobster with it, they confirmed that the MoonPay scammer at first said, "Can I call you? Can you be reached by phone?" No. Very, very true. And one of the big giveaways, too, is tech companies don't have customer service. Tech companies, it is nigh impossible to get a human being on a phone at any tech company. And so if you're getting a call from a tech company, what? I've tried to get on the phone with Facebook since I was a young whippersnapper type deal, and it has never, ever, ever happened. And so I'm glad that you caught it. That was very, very good of you there, Proud Air American, to catch that one. Because they do. They do not mess around. They do not mess around. And they are very, very convincing. Very convincing. All right. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and jump on into it, guys. See what's up with the market today. I'm proud of everybody. The young people think I'm old, Zester, but I'm on it, buddy. Heck yeah, you are. No, I'm very glad that you did catch it. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's see what the market is up to at the moment. Pete Rose, my email actually just got tossed in a little earlier by Kukla. And so that would be the email for that one, Pete Rose. Also, that email can be found in the description on my link tree. All right. Let's get this one on up here. All right. Where are we at today? Markets pretty much are sitting exactly where we've been looking at them for the past couple of weeks. Bitcoin still below 90,000, sitting at 87,602. Ethereum doing a little bit better than it has been, but still sitting short of 3,000 at 290.33. XRP sitting at $1.86. And well, XRP really has been kind of stuck in this little bracket for the month. Well, shouldn't say that. We started out strong. For the last half of the month, we've pretty much sat right around here, a little bit of stagnation going on. But yes, we have not seen a major crypto rally. It's the 29th of December. I mean, I don't want to go ahead and throw in the towel. I guess there's still a lady who needs to sing before you get to officially say that nothing occurred or nothing major rallied during the month of December. But I feel fairly confident at this point we're not going to see a massive December crypto rally, as many of the analysts had been predicting earlier in the year. Earlier in the year, this December was viewed as really being a major catalyzing point. There was an expectation that the Clarity Act would already be passed. There was an expectation that the Senate and the House would already be on to further crypto bills and legislation, that we would be further along the path to the Bitcoin Act. And so since we are not, this December has not necessarily worked out as well as a lot of the talking heads thought it would earlier in the year. And well, we can see that pretty evidently in the numbers. Crypto fund outflows surpassed $3 billion since October. Matter of fact, they have pinpointed my birthday, October 10th, as being the day that everything turned sour on that front, which I find particularly offensive. That, or I guess they're complimenting the general importance of such a unimportant day in terms of the world. But yes, since October 10th, $3 billion have been removed from the different crypto ETF funds. So between December 19th and 27th, just in a single week, cryptocurrency investment products experienced outflows totaling $446 million. And where these outflows came from, I think, is particularly important. Since the market downturn on October 10th, that's where they go ahead and call me out. Investors have withdrawn a total of $3.2 billion from funds. Analysts noted that sentiment among segment participants has yet to recover. And so year-to-date net inflows reached $46.3 billion, comparable to the 2024 figure of $48.7. Meanwhile, assets under management increased by only 10%. These numbers are definitely not adding up. And the reason that they're not adding up is because a lot of the ETFs weren't spot ETFs. But this is a fairly clear indication that while, yes, $3 billion of outflows since October 10th is not a good sign, it really is a drop in the bucket in terms of the overall amount of funds that have flowed in over the past 2 years, just alone. And so what we really got here is the major takeaway, in my opinion, is which cryptos are outflowing, which countries, as a matter of fact, also happen to be outflowing. In regards to that one, the United States is definitely leading the charge in regards to overall outflows from these exchange traded funds. Only really, I guess Switzerland would actually be coming in essentially in the number 2 slot, but with only 14.2 as opposed to 460. So not even really close on that one. 14.2 million from Switzerland. Germany actually here. Local investors invested 35.7 million in products. And so Switzerland and Germany, Germany being the only one that was actually a net inflow. And where did they flow out from? We looked at this exact chart last week. And what we have seen is that, well, it was Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so leading the way were products based on XRP and Solana. Inflows of 70.2 million into XRP and 7.5 million into Solana, respectively. And so the only 2 cryptocurrencies globally that bucked the trend were XRP and Solana. These are some of the newest ETFs out there. We are all very, very aware of how hard XRP had to fight the SEC in order to get an ETF. And so we haven't had them for very long, but they are the only cryptos bucking the trend. And well, disproportionately, XRP is the one bucking the trend with 70.2 million compared to the 7.5 million of inflows into Solana. And so XRP is really dominating in regards to that one. And so we have seen this major outflow. We talked about this last week. A lot of folks are pointing towards Bitcoin and Ethereum struggling so much because of specifically the Clarity Act not passing. This is a very much one that in a lot of ways Ethereum is the most excited for because of its smart contract technology. But yes, we have seen a lot of anger from investors who were betting on the Clarity Act passing by the end of 2025. And that's where a lot of folks are pointing at their hesitancy over Ethereum and Bitcoin, saying, well, Ethereum and Bitcoin are supposed to be the future. Legislation is slacking. We're not getting these bills fast enough. And so investors are feeling as if their dollars would be more appreciated somewhere else, at least in the short term. But positive news for XRP. We're seeing positive inflows, and we continue to see them. XRP ETFs are doing well despite this current market downtrend. Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs are not doing well during this current market downtrend, but a lot of that could be immediately reversed by a January passing of the Clarity Act. If we see the Clarity Act in January on Trump's desk, I very, very, very much imagine we're going to see a massive inflow into Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. And we're going to see a massive amount of interest in people just purchasing the cryptocurrency themselves. Ethereum could very, very easily, with the passing of the Clarity Act, achieve a new all-time high. And so for those that were not around for Ethereum's old all-time high, when I say all-time high, I mean around $5,000. The all-time high for Ethereum was $4,946 just 4 months ago. Very much believe that's 40.7% down. Very much think that the Clarity Act could actually reverse that. And that's kind of that's kind of the reason that I laid out the schedule for this week before we even started on the show, before I even said good mornings. And that's because a lot of what's really exciting at this point, a lot of what's really intriguing and interesting to me is looking at this coming year. Because we have a lot of things on the docket. We have a lot that is already close to passing, and we've already had an incredible year of building a foundation. And so we're going to be talking about the future, 2026, on Friday. We'll be talking about the entire year of 2025 on Wednesday. All right. All right. Yeah, there you go, Pete. Google put it back on in there for you. And so jumping to the next one, Russia. Sberbank issues Russia's first crypto-backed loan to Bitcoin miner Intelion Data. Sberbank used its in-house crypto custody tool to back a loan for a mining firm, Intelion Data, signaling broader interest in crypto lending. Now, for those not aware of Russian banking, Sberbank here, and I'm certain I'm probably not saying that the way a Russian would, is the second largest bank in Russia. And they are the first now in Russia to have issued a loan that is backed by crypto. This is something that we are going to start seeing more and more and more of. You're going to see this in the United States. You're going to see this all over. And well, Sber says that it is exploring decentralized finance instruments and supports the gradual legalization of cryptocurrencies in Russia. The decentralized finance angle for Russia is very important. While the current sanctions are still ongoing, crypto lending and crypto-backed loans provides an alternate route. It provides a way to essentially avoid the SWIFT system when it comes to loans and lending. And those are some of the things that have been particularly important in this process, because it's not just that the new financial system is going to be based on a blockchain. It's also that blockchain lending is different than lending in the sense that we are used to. Blockchain lending, at least in its current form, is very much based on backed or collateralized loans. And that is how the current DeFi loaning and lending works. I am very, very, very much a fan of this loan structure, but it does not provide all of the solutions. Ultimately, that type of loan is not going to be any good for somebody who does not have any collateral to provide. And so, in that sense, there's still a lot that needs to be figured out there on the lending side of cryptocurrency. Smart contracts and Ethereum technology make it very, very, very easy to innovate on the subject, but it's something that we haven't seen a lot from major banks on. And you have to imagine major banks are really going to be the ones that are kind of going to write the rules on how crypto lending works at first, because who's the government going to listen to? They're going to listen to the heads and the CEOs of these different banks. It's just going to happen. They're going to trust their analysts over Zester over here on the Crazy Cryptonaut channel, which makes sense. All right, and going on, I talked about this one a little bit already. I am very, very excited for Ethereum in 2026. 2026 is the year Ethereum starts scaling exponentially with ZK Tech. All right, the lowdown on how a switch over to ZK proofs is expected to work this year as part of Ethereum's plan to scale to 10,000 transactions per second. All right, 2026, pivotal year. The first Ethereum validators will process tiny zero-knowledge proofs instead of re-executing transactions. All right, what does this mean? I imagine is going to be one of the first questions here. Well, ZK is extremely, extremely exciting from a technology standpoint because of zero knowledge. AKA, it is capable of operating with a degree of security and a degree of anonymity that is above and beyond essentially any modern financial system. And so ZK technology is based around the way in which it is validated. This unlock scales benefits for the layer one and sets it on path to 10,000 transactions per second. It's a complete overhaul of the fundamental way the blockchain works, comparable in scale to the Ethereum merge of 2022, when Ethereum successfully switched from proof of work to proof of stake. At present, every validator re-executes every single transaction. And while the introduction of perfect parallel processing in Glamsterdam will make that process more efficient, it's only a step along the road. The plan is to generate a zero-knowledge proof for each block. Magical math that proves the block executed properly, and then validators simply check if the proof is legitimate. And so, rather than every transaction in Ethereum having to go through and be proven by every single validator, essentially, it won't have to go through that. One validator will have to actually go through and do the heavy lifting, and then the rest of the validators will only have to check their work. This is something we'll talk about a lot when it does come to fruition. It is scheduled for 2026. This is one of the exciting tech updates for Ethereum, something we'll be talking about on Friday. And that's really the reason I started. That's why. You'll notice that essentially news in the crypto space right now is very much focused on recaps in the coming year. Bitfinex whales have gone long on Bitcoin for 2026. We are beginning to see this just started over the weekend, actually. We are starting to see a lot of major whales who are taking out leverage positions long on Bitcoin going into the new year. Long position means that they expect the price of Bitcoin to rise. And so many whales on the Bitcoin side seem to be under the belief that 2026 is going to be a Bitcoin year. But, well, we all know what the current price is. We are still not able to break above 90,000 consistently at this point. And so this is more of a let's see what happens. These Bitfinex whales may be getting liquidated come January if we do not see a major Bitcoin rally. Here we go. An opinion piece here. Most crypto treasuries will disappear amid a bleak 2026 outlook. Many crypto and Bitcoin treasury companies may go under in 2026 as the model comes under pressure. These are digital asset treasury companies, DATs. And going into the next year, I think that the outlook for DATs is a bit bleak, says Alton Tutar, co-founder and CEO of crypto yield platform More Markets. And a lot of the overall worry here is that the market is just becoming very crowded. A lot of the companies that were operating in this space previously were smaller companies. I won't call them mom and pops, but they were small fintech companies. They were a group of guys getting together and putting something together. Now you are beginning to see Wall Street come in. And so really, it's not that we are likely to see a reduction in the amount of crypto that is held in treasuries. It's that we are going to see a reduction in the amount of companies that are operating these treasuries because the big dogs are coming. It's that I guess the easiest way to say it, and this is what crypto is experiencing right now. And crypto is only going to experience this more and more and more going into the future. But what we are seeing is we're seeing the same thing that occurred when small town America got a Walmart. When small town America got a Walmart, what happened to mom and pop? Mom and pop shop had to close up and mom and pop had to get a job at Walmart. And that is how we saw the spread of something like that occur. Big company comes into town. Walmart's just the easiest one because so many people have seen this happen in your own lives. I imagine that y'all can probably give me countless amounts of stories of the small towns that you live in when Walmart showed up. Crypto is currently experiencing Walmart. It's experiencing that pressure upon it. Now, that pressure may result in some of these different fintech companies innovating and succeeding, but it's going to be very hard to fight against the pockets, the wallets of these major banks and these major companies as they move into the cryptocurrency space. And so I think that this one is very, very, very true, but I don't appreciate the headline and I don't appreciate the way that they tried to frame the article, because they tried to frame the article as if treasuries were going to be the ones that were suffering issues, as if the idea of holding cryptocurrency as a company, as a country, things of that nature were a bad idea. And that's not in any way the case. What they're saying is that they're most likely going to be a massive reduction in the amount of companies that are offering treasury services. And that's a very, very important clarification that they tried to leave out in the headline. It's important to read the entire article for certain on this one. And I think that Walmart metaphor is something that is very important for everyone to be aware of. It's currently going on. We are watching it happen in real time. All right, here's another one. This platform introduces pre-funding for real-world assets with the new mechanism. The V2E mechanism allows users to reserve funds for unlocking IP rights or real-world asset purchases in a vault for upfront incentives. Very, 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 very interesting idea here. The reason that I was brought it up and have it here for everyone to check out is the importance of the RWA. Tokenization. I told you a million times. I know you're already probably tired of hearing me say it. You're going to start hearing this word everywhere. 2026 is going to be the year of real world asset tokenization. At least, I don't know if it'll end up being the year that has the most monetary value tokenized, but I think it's going to be the race has begun. And technically the race has already started, but I don't think everyone's really aware of it. Everyone's going to become aware of the massive economic race that's going on, in my opinion, in 2026. And it's going to be focused around the tokenization of real world assets. And these are the type of things that are going to be very important for that, allowing for ways to essentially to finance the tokenization, because the tokenization process is going to be decades long. And we're going to see certain sectors get tokenized first. But I'm going to save the rest of that conversation for Friday, because Friday I plan on talking a lot about what's going to happen in 2026, or at least what I believe is going to happen in 2026. And then we can all have fun along the year, seeing whether I was right on any of them, or whether my guess would have been much better done by a Magic 8 Ball. We'll see if a Magic 8 Ball can beat Zester in 2026. Good morning, Mary Jones. Welcome, welcome. All right. And for our last little ones right here, guys, it is going to be a shorter one because there's just not but so much to really talk about on the news front. But let's go through a little breakdown of the month of December, just to see all the things that kind of happened along the way. In particular, we see here U.S. Congress advanced major crypto bills reshaping stablecoin frameworks, market structure, clarity, and limits around central bank digital currencies, signaling regulatory maturation heading into 2026. We saw a massive amount of continued efforts on the legislation. We got some clarification that the clarity bill is expected to be once again discussed by the Senate in January, and current expectations are that it will pass. All right, though, Bitcoin rallied above 90,000 in late December before dropping right back down, including Ethereum. MicroStrategy is Michael Saylor. They are the largest Bitcoin treasury holders on the planet. They got a lot of Bitcoin. And Michael Saylor is considered quite the visionary when it comes down to the idea of crypto treasuries. MicroStrategy continued its aggressive Bitcoin accumulation, buying over 1,100 Bitcoin after a brief pause. We covered this one a few days ago. Many people believed that MicroStrategy was actually going to sell some Bitcoin. They flipped the script and made a $109 million purchase. Overall market interest remains muted, with retail attention near yearly lows and split sentiment on whether Bitcoin will trend higher or reassess support. As a matter of fact, retail attention is at an all-time low for the year. As of the most recent sentiment polls that I looked at. And so currently retail investors are quite scared of the crypto markets. At least that is the 2025 December. Coinbase published a strategic outlook for 2026, emphasizing the importance of infrastructure, clear regulation, and real usage for markets to thrive next year. Once again, something we will be talking about on Friday. Overall, though, we really didn't see much that we haven't talked about. It has been a very, very boring month. ETFs have continued to outflow, as we talked about earlier. The only ones that haven't have really been XRP and Solana, with XRP massively leading the charge. And XRP's price action is drawing comparisons to its historic 2017 December surge, with analysts debating whether structural similarities could lead to outsized 2025 gains. Well, that's what we were talking about at the beginning of the month. Well, unfortunately, when we come over and check, that has not come into fruition. The reason, though, that people were talking about that 2017 rally is because of actually this. And so back in December of 2017, we saw the first major, really the coming out of XRP. And so people were drawing correlations to it because of the stagnation that occurred falling up to it. And then that it massively, massively spiked in December and continued all the way into January to actually achieve that $3.40 all-time high, or it was the all-time high at that point that we held for many, many years. And so folks were drawing that correlation. At this point, I would argue that there is still very much a correlation in market activity, but it's not going to happen in the same month. And so I'm looking forward to January on this one. We saw the Trust Wallet breach, $7 million stolen from Trust Wallet users. An excellent reminder to never trust Trust Wallet. Otherwise, it was an extremely, extremely boring December. Extremely, extremely boring December. And kind of unexpectedly. All right. Crooklyn XRP, 746 million XRP locked up in ETF since launch, with still more to come. Absolutely, Crook. Crook is completely right on this one. XRP is the only one that has bucked the trend. I know how frustrating it is for me to say that and then to look at the price and say, well, Zester, you say that XRP is doing amazing right now. ETFs are doing awesome. We're seeing all this inflow, but we're not seeing any major price action in a positive fashion for XRP itself. On this one, I'm in complete agreement. And I absolutely have to just point towards the fact that the markets do remain interconnected in terms of the price of Bitcoin. And also, we always have to remember with XRP that there are the monthly sales that are coming from escrow. And so hopefully we continue to see, and I believe we will, Crook. I believe we're going to continue to see the growth of XRP ETFs. I think that this trend is going to continue into January and February and most of the first quarter of 2026 on the side of XRP. And what will be interesting also, Crook, is going to see when the Clarity Act does pass, how that influences XRP, because everyone's talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum in relation to the Clarity Act. And they're really not giving enough credit to the fact that XRP is planning on pushing real world tokenization in the year of 2026 to a major degree. And so I'm interested to see how that one plays out. At this point, everyone's talking about the Clarity Act in January in the context of Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I think that there's a lot more out there than what the talking heads are focused on. It is huge news for Ethereum. It's huge. It's huge for Bitcoin. But I think that the somewhat unforeseen beneficiary of the Clarity Act is going to end up being XRP because of the different things they're planning on for the year. Mimsy Wims, it's never boring listening to your voice, Zester. Professional and worth its boom and gold. Oh, thank you so much, Mimsy. Thank you so much. Well, I do. I do, Mimsy. On days when there's not but so much exciting news to dig into, I do kind of question. I question at times whether I shouldn't just say, hey, everybody, nothing all that exciting today. But I love getting to jump in, and you never know when you're going to have really important questions get asked. Good morning, Rich Roper from 1 degree, South Dakota. Rich Roper, no thank you. No thank you, Rich, but I'm glad you're here, and I hope that it is very, very warm wherever you are currently watching the stream from. I hope that it is. All right, though, guys, with all of that one, guys, it is going to be a short stream today. Wednesday, I'm very excited for. We're going to do a full recap of the year of 2025. And that is, we're going to really do that so that we can be prepared for Friday, where we're going to do a forecast for the year of 2026. I have already put together a bunch of forecasts from companies, from JP Morgan, from Goldman Sachs, from Coinbase, from a lot of them. And I'm going to essentially go through theirs and then compare them to what I'm expecting for the year. And so I'm very, very excited for that stream on Friday. But until then, everyone, enjoy the holiday season. I hope everyone had an amazing, amazing Christmas. I hope folks have a lot of awesome plans for the new year. I know I'm going through and putting together not my New Year's resolutions, but my 2026 plans. And so I hope everyone out there has got a very, very exciting year to look forward to. I think on the cryptocurrency side, for all the crypto holders out there, I think you're going to have a lot of excitement in the crypto space coming. That's for certain. But we'll all find out together. With that one, love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I will be back on Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will jump in to the recap. Love you guys. Peace.